You're watching ESPN Space Week presented by Lowe's. This is the Marriott Bonvoy men's battle for Atlantis. We've got one more game left, one more glorious evening on the glorious Paradise Island here at the Bahamas. Yes, the snowman is out, but he would melt instantly in this perfect weather. Western Kentucky, Wichita State, our final game at the Bahamas. Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander. We're going to see some great scores to finish the tournament.
Absolutely. Tegan Moore already with 51 points in this tournament. Could challenge for the tournament record that was set earlier today. But Tegan Moore has been Mr. Do-It-All for the Hilltoppers. And on the other side, Kenyon Giles has waited till late to do the majority of his damage. The Shockers are going to need for him to get going early and often if they want to leave the island with the win.
You come to the battle for Atlantis, you're guaranteed three things: sun, sand, and a win. Unless you lose this game. This is the 7th place game. Somebody's got to get out of here with a win. Somebody will leave 0-3. You don't want to leave 0-3. Western Kentucky starts with the ball, facing Wichita State for the 3rd straight year. The American and Conference USA go head-to-head as we close our time here in the Bahamas. It's Tegan Moore who's got a lot of the ball here. Sets up Cam Hackner off the iron on the 3. And Wichita State, coming off of a 76-70 loss to Colorado State, has possession. Same starting 5 for the Shocks. Giles, Gray, and Boyd the guards. T.J. Williams and the big man Will Berg, 7'2" center. Here is Karan Boyd. Great start for Wichita State with a corner 3.
And Wichita State has gotten off the slow starts in this tournament thus far. Good to see Boyd knocking down the 3 ball to get them off to a good one here this evening.
All right, Meadow Boone, 2-time Conference Freshman of the Week, slides into the lineup today with Hackner, Moore, Grant Newell, and Blaze Keita. Big news, Terrion Murdix, their starting point guard, is out today. There's some concern after a lower body injury suffered yesterday. So Boone makes his first career start.
And Boone, who's so versatile, taking over at the point guard position with Murdix out. But a young man who can play on the wing and clearly can handle the basketball well enough. The coach Bona has decided to put him at the point.
Boyd again, scored from 3 and now from the paint. Karan Boyd, strong, burly, 6'6" senior with the first 5. Wichita State never led yesterday, and Paul Mills said, we cannot play one half of basketball. They are off to a much better start here against a Western Kentucky team that led by 17 before losing an OT to South Florida. Boone for Keita, the big man, into the body of Gray. Offensive rebound Moore, and he somehow throws it in.
And Moore probably could have gotten a free throw on that one too, but coming up with the second chance points with the first basket of the day for Western Kentucky.
There's a lot of contact uncalled from Will Berg, who's been in early foul trouble both games for Wichita State. Berg screens for Gray. On the roll, Berg. On the kick, Williams. It will not fall, and Berg, trying to get around Keita, draws the first foul. Paul Mills was very pointed in his post-game comments yesterday. Said we didn't have the fight we needed to win a game of that caliber. They cut a 21-point lead to 5, but the deficit was just too much to overcome.
But yeah, the deficit was too big in the first half. That was the thing. They didn't show up to play at the same time as their opponent. They waited till too late in the game, and that's one of the things that, you know, when you look at their star in Kenyon Giles, he has to be more aggressive early, setting the tone in this game. You look forward to seeing him be aggressive right here in the first half to put Western Kentucky on notice that they're going to have to deal with him for 40 minutes.
Giles right now is guarded by the freshman Armello Boone. Preseason first-team all-conference. Giles hasn't touched the ball yet, but Boyd has done the work. Williams thought about a handoff to Giles. Instead, he charges into Tegan Moore, and he is fouled on the floor. So Western Kentucky's best player with an early foul. Hank Plona, second year at WKU. Great coach in junior college at Indian Hills Junior College. He won nearly 87% of his games there. Made the national semis in his final year there. The Hilltoppers down 5-2 early. Berg double teamed, puts it on the deck against Keita. Berg And Berg is fouled. So 3 quick fouls here against WKU. They've had some concerns with Will Berg, how low he holds the ball at 7-2. They'd like Berg to be a more efficient finisher, but he gets bailed out putting the ball down there because of the foul.
Yeah, but that's the one thing, especially if you catch it high, you want to keep it high as a big man. Not that I have much experience ever being a big man.
Ray, there's still hope for you, I think.
You know, I could be growing at 52.
And now Berg commits the foul. All right, so 4 quick fouls. The guys with the towels and the mops have been doing a lot of work early. And Berg will check out for Emmanuel Okorafor.
But Salabange and Keita on this floor at the same time. This is a different lineup for Western Kentucky, not one you see often.
I don't think we saw that at all yesterday.
No, I don't think we've seen it in the first 2 games.
Keita only played 4 minutes yesterday. Bryant Salabange is in. Moore, count the bucket. Tegan Moore with the first 4 for Western Kentucky. Their 21-point-per-game score will go to the line for another.
And he's been excellent at the free throw stripe as well. 11 for 11 in first time out, 8 for 9 yesterday. So shooting free throws extremely well. And he has been providing a tremendous offensive spark for the Hilltoppers ever since they arrived here in Atlantis.
An incredibly deep team, but Moore is the guy. A rare miss for him. Western Kentucky, they live at the line, second with 33 free throw attempts per game in the country. That ball is knocked away from Gray. There's Hafner for the Hilltoppers. Western Kentucky at a Conference USA, 17 and 15 a year ago. Looking inside to Keita against Okorafor. Out for Hafner, their big 3-point shooter.
Pays off. Oftentimes, it's just human nature when the ball goes inside for everyone to turn their head. Keita not much of a threat offensively. They only average 1.7 points per game. So there's no reason to lose track of a shooter like Hafner on the perimeter.
First 5 for Wichita State, next 7 for Western Kentucky.
That's going to be there's going to be the second foul on Tegan Moore,
yes,
who's normally used to drawing those fouls, as we see Hafner on the other end knock down the 3-ball. But with Moore having to defend TJ Williams, Williams is always going to be aggressive, and that's picking up the second foul on Moore here in the first 4 minutes of this game.
You take him out?
He's such a smart player. I believe Coach Prono will allow him to stay, but he's definitely going to limit his minutes. He's going to come out now, but you're going to have to get him back on the floor. It would be extremely difficult for Western Kentucky to be successful in this game without playing Tegan Moore for the remaining 16 and a half minutes of this first half. So he'll be back, but he's absolutely going to have to be very intelligent during that time.
Williams rolls in the second to tie the game. I mean, some coaches, you get 2 fouls in the first half, you're an automatic out. That's not going to be the case here, because look at what Tegan Moore's done. Career highs in back-to-back games.
That's more of an old school rule. You don't see it as much with coaches now. They'll look for spots to be able to get a player in and out of the game, because you don't want anyone to just lose all of their rhythm having to sit and watch almost an entire first half.
Keita missed it at the rim. Salabange missed the dunk. Boone is there after 2 misses from right in close. And a kick for 3, L.J. Hackman.
But it's a similar play. Why crowd the paint when Keita catches the basketball in the middle? He's shown you his ability to finish or not finish around the rim. And so you crash the paint and leave a shooter wide open for 3.
Giles finally with a touch. Had Boone and Keita on it. Giles has not taken a shot yet. He's barely had the ball. Boyd has. And he's hit 2 threes from that same corner.
Yeah, he likes that corner. Knocking down his second 3 and third field goal of the game.
Boone comes screaming down the lane. Keita sealed off Okorafor. And Armello Boone, the 6'4 freshman, has his first 2.
Nice finish by Boone, going off the right foot, finishing with the right hand, avoiding the shot blocker. Okorafor was able to go there and contest that shot, even though Keita tried to steal him off.
Oh, Okorafor leaves it short. 12-10 Western Kentucky. 5+ gone by in this first half. Boone against Giles. Boone. Wichita with 5 to shoot. This is not usually where the action starts. Hafner, tough one. Off the backboard, then the rim. And Hafner out of the Kawhi zone there. A strange angle as Giles misses a deep one. Drake Kendall is there to clean it up, and he misses.
Would love to see Drake Kendall just shoot his regular shot there instead of the push shot. Use your form, use your shot right there. That's a warm-up shot for you that would have put your first 2 points on the board.
Looked like the Papa shot for him. There probably is a Papa shot somewhere in this resort, to be fair.
It has to be.
Hackman. No.
But Crush, the kids' club over there that you clearly have frequented. You knew they had karaoke.
No question. I read the advertisements. You and I will be there after the game, crushing karaoke. 12-10 Western Kentucky, ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Marriott Bonvoy and by Atlantis Paradise Island, Bahamas, the discovery of a lifetime. Final game of 12 here in the Bahamas. 12-10 Western Kentucky leads it against Wichita State. Thanks for being with us tonight and all week. Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander. This is for the real hoops junkies. This is our sickos out here. 7th place game Friday night. Let's go. Going to be a good pace to this game. Western Kentucky really gets up and down, and they'll have to without Tegan Moore with 2 fouls.
Tegan Moore on the bench now with 2 fouls, having to watch a little bit of this first half action. Armello Boone, important for him to step up. Start the game at the point guard position. Now going to have to be even more aggressive as a scorer to try to keep his team afloat while their leading scorer has to watch in foul trouble.
Tegan Moore, 51 points in the first 2 games of the tournament. There he is. Picked up his 2nd foul at the 16:26 mark. Blaze Keita just picked up his 2nd foul to send TJ Williams to the line. And my goodness, what a tournament it's been for Tegan Moore. 24 against a Vanderbilt team, which really wasn't challenged much by VCU or by St. Mary's. The 2 teams Vandy beat the last 2 days. Western Kentucky played Vanderbilt tighter than anybody.
They really did. Tegan Moore with 24 points in that game. Armello Boone with 16, as well as the highlight of the tournament thus far. And Western Kentucky now fighting just to get 1 win in this tournament alone. Challenge the champs more so than anyone else throughout this week.
Vandy won today 96-71. That's the biggest margin of victory in the history of the battle for Atlantis against the St. Mary's team that does not get blown out. Noah Boyd is on the floor. Ryan Myers for Western Kentucky, which can go legitimately 13 deep. Newell against Jarrett Valencia. And Valencia stands up strong and rejects the shot from the former Cal Golden Bear. Kendall, a great distributor, feeds Valencia. And Valencia's pass is poked away only as far as Boyd. Valencia, low pass for Kendall. Somehow still 8 on the shot clock. A possession that feels like it's taken a full minute. Boyd. And Okorafor went over the top for his first foul.
It seemed like a very long possession, but you've got to give the Hilltoppers a lot of credit for standing their ground defensively and coming up with a stop.
And the Moppers are at it again. 12th and final game on this court. A lot of work to stop it from being slick. 4th game of the day. Appreciate the folks here in the Bahamas, the crew that's been working on this tournament all week, and even long before that, getting it set up. Rare to have basketball in a ballroom. That's what we have here. The Imperial Ballroom becomes Imperial Arena. Which is a cool name for an arena, by the way.
It's a very cool name for, and a very cool arena.
Yes.
I would love to play in a setting like this. It's a better shooting environment.
Why is that?
Lower ceiling, right? So you don't feel like you're playing outside. Lower ceiling, but more importantly, all the lighting is on the court. It's not as much in the stands. Similar to Madison Square Garden, however, much smaller.
Yes,
as a venue.
It's the ballroom, or the Madison Square Garden of ballrooms.
Have you been to all the ballrooms to be able to make that claim?
I've been to every single one. Took up ballroom dancing. Newell, muscling, and a foul.
Big bucket by Newell, who only played 10 minutes in that loss to Vanderbilt on opening night. Injured his ankle, however, did return for yesterday's game. But not much of an impact, but having an impact here to start this game. Playing tough in the post.
Newell was a starter for a year and a half at Cal. Started every game for North Texas last year. Good, mean green team. He misses the and one opportunity. Wichita State has won for its last 7. Kindle weaving. Finds Valencia. His 3 is in and out. Ryan Myers was 4 for 5 from 3 yesterday at the controls for Western Kentucky. And that is a missed 2.
That's a forced shot by Myers. I'm sure they could have got something better than that. And it ends up with the defense being unbalanced and able to get back in transition.
Brian Amunique draws the 6th Western Kentucky foul. Oh,
yeah.
It's electric.
Yeah. Florida and UNC taking losses yesterday, but as we promote those games, I mean, again, should we be promoting Wednesday, NC State and
Absolutely.
Auburn, where you and I will be?
That's right. NC State Auburn, 9:15, Wednesday night, ESPN.
And you know why 9:15, correct, in comparison to 9 o'clock?
That's the night where we have the Jimmy V speech for the first 15 minutes at 7 o'clock. Which is, by the way, if you've watched it 100 times, watch it for 101st time. That will be from 7 to 7:15. Jim Valvano's famous emotional SB speech.
Still brings out all the feels and all the emotions that Jimmy B talks about that each person should have in a day.
And we're coming up on D-Week soon, which is the best thing we do here at ESPN. Really exciting time of the year for college basketball, even this early in the year. Peace Week, V-Week, ACC, SEC Challenge, and before you know it, conference play will be hot upon us. Will Berg grabs the rebound off the miss from Myers. It's 14-14 here in the Bahamas. Wichita State, Western Kentucky. Giles bounces it through for Berg, and he loses the ball. A turnover for Noah Boyd.
The issue there for Wichita State is the fact that Berg was never even considering just grabbing the basketball and going to dunk it. Finish at the rim. He was already looking to pass the ball before he got it in his hand.
How about the back cut? Boyd with the bouncer to Newell. Topper is back in front.
Nice find from Boyd to Newell, but you got to appreciate the cut to make yourself available by Newell, who's picked up a couple baskets here early.
Wichita State does not have a player on the floor who's hit a field goal until now. Drake Kindle rises and fires for 2.
See the difference in Drake Kindle going to his mid-range pull-up jump shot in comparison to the push shot previously?
That's right. Difference is it went in.
There you go. That's the success rate.
16-16. 7th place game, Atlantis. A high pass off the hands of Boyd. Out of bounds. And the first Western Kentucky turnover.
Nice cut by Newell there. Boyd able to find him. And once again, when you're playing against post players that aren't really much of a threat to score, there shouldn't be a reason to get back cut, to lose sight of the person that you're guarding. Most times the coaches will tell you, see man and ball. But if the ball is not a threat to be scored, keep an eye on your man. Don't allow yourself to get face cut or back cut for an easy layup.
Kindle bouncer for Berg. Berg against Solabunge. Berg with a power dribble. Throws it away. Deflected by Boone. Kindle has it. Valencia. Amunique 3. It's good. Brian Amunique.
Welcome three-point make for Brian Amunique. Came into the tournament shooting 1 of 10 from beyond the three-point arc. It was a 40% shooter a season ago, and part of the reason why Coach Mills went after him in the transfer portal.
His first three since the opening game against Asheville. Boone hard charging. Left it short, got it back in between three, and Boone is fouled.
Nice ball movement. Kendall attacking the paint. That one more to the wing. Brian Amunique able to step up and knock down the three. Has to feel very good for that young man with the reputation of a shooter. Has struggled to shoot. Coach Mills told us on Tuesday at practice he knew that at some point it's going to happen for Brian Amunique. He didn't know when, but picked a very good time here to knock down another three ball.
Newell draws another foul. The previous foul was on Gray, and both teams are going to be in the bonus the rest of the way. That's the second on Drake Kendall. Newell has a free throw miss already. 76% foul shooter. Hits the first. Louis Simona. First time we see him in this tournament. 6'8" junior, transfer from Stonehill, which is a relatively new Division I school of the Northeast Conference. Newell goes 1 for 2, and Salabunga knocked it off of Berg. It will stay with Western Kentucky.
We've seen a number of players really getting in their first major action of the season here during this tournament and having impact. So we'll have to keep an eye on Simone to see if he can be the next of that bunch.
Off the air ball three by Hafner. Here's Gray. Hard screen Berg. Gray missed it. Berg fights for it. And it's out of bounds, staying with Wichita State. This has been a stop-start game through 11 minutes.
Coach Plona continues to bide time with Keegan Moore on the bench. Picked up that second foul with a little over 16 minutes to play, and has sat ever since. It'll be interesting to see how long he leaves his best player and leading scorer on the bench to watch.
Catch and shoot three, no good for Gray. Berg the offensive rebound. Kendall with a shot fake. Feeds the post and Berg against another new topper, Leroy Odiahe. Berg brings it low, gets it up high, leaves it short.
He allowed the mere mortals to be able to affect the basketball by bringing it down to their height, and now we have a scrum on the floor. Love to see it. Third game in 3 days. But how important it is to both these teams to where they're willing to lay their bodies on the line and get on the floor after a loose ball.
Wichita State had the arrow. The Moppers are out again. Garrick Shannon will towel off the basketball. Garrick Shannon, Gary Maxwell, Will Howard are officials. The ball is sufficiently dry.
Yeah, really good officiating throughout this tournament. All the games that we've done, we've seen a great whistle, a fair whistle on both sides.
Amunique, no good. Salabunga, great rebounder with another one. He's already picked up 3 off the bench.
Salabunga playing more at the 4 position throughout this game.
And gets called for the charge.
Yeah, showing off his perimeter skill. I think that's just a byproduct of being strong. When you knock down TJ Williams like that, you got to be a pretty strong guy. But smart play by Williams, recognizing Salabunga off the bounce. As he lowers that shoulder, great opportunity to go down and pick up the offensive foul.
Salabunga's first, Western Kentucky's 7th. Wichita State 5 for 16, Western Kentucky 7 for 19. 2 turnovers apiece. Amunique. Giles getting grabbed by Boone.
Great job by Boone fighting through those screens.
Williams into Salabunga now. Missed the jumper. Another rebound for Brian Salabunga. Simona. Boone, shot fake. Boone! Oh! Denied by Berg, but a foul!
I tell you what, Anytime you see Boone with a head of steam as such, it gets exciting. However, Will Berg has shown that he is up to the challenge, denies the opportunity. Boone will have free throws when they come back. I may challenge that if I'm coach.
I feel like I gotta do something. I'm not good at basketball.
That is Zach Ford, camera operator to the stars. Look at this photo.
Yeah,
Jackie Moon in the house.
2011.
Wow.
I tell you what, how about the fro though?
I didn't know Zach.
I'm thinking the fro, Zach.
I didn't know Zach played for Louisville.
There you go.
Zach looks like the frontman of Coheed and Cambria, which is a reference I'm sure everybody at home will get.
Zach knocking down the jumper. That's the fact that he sold it though.
Yes.
I'm not good at basketball.
And I can't even see the guy with the red towel because I'm so locked in on Zach. A Favor House Atlantis for camera operator Zach, who said that was his first take. You believe him? You think that was his first take?
I do. I believe Zach. Much more so than I would if you tried.
Well, that's why I wouldn't try to say it. I wouldn't lie to you.
No, you know what? I believe that.
Thank you. Now I have carte blanche to say anything I want. Because you believe me.
Yeah,
you're a true believer.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
that's right.
Most of the stuff that you say is on television, so it can be fact-checked by others out there.
That's right. I do not speak famously in the hours leading up to and after the game. Save it for the air. 1919, Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander in Atlantis. The final game of 12 at Thanksgiving week. Amunique from Williams. Brian Amunique has to put it up at the end of the shot clock. He scored it, but that will be reviewed to see if Amunique let it go in time.
See if he got it out of his hands before the shot clock goes off. A free timeout for the coaches. Paul Mills telling his team, that's good, don't worry about it. He's confident that this 2 is going to count.
This would be a season-high 7 for Amunique because he already has a season-high 5.
Oh, here's the look right here as Amunique takes it out, recognizes he's got to get a shot off. It looks as though it is out of his hands. Yes, it is out of his hands before you see 0. Great work by our camera crew to catch that. That is perfect. And that will be a good bucket. Paul Mills didn't even bring his team over to the bench. He's actually out on the court talking to them now. But he was very confident in telling his group, that's good, guys. Don't even worry about it. Let's get set to play defense.
Will Howard, Gary Maxwell, Garrett Shannon. And they will count the bucket. So 7 points for Amunique. This kid last year was supposed to redshirt at Fresno State. He reclassified up. But because of injuries, he played. He was the 14th youngest player in the country last year and still averaged 7.7 a game. 41% three-point shooting. Mills told us his moment would come. It has come in the first half today.
Yeah, whenever you're dealing with a young player, I mean, when you speak of it, he really should be a freshman in college this year.
Boom. Step back.
Speaking of
beauty.
freshmen, this is a freshman that doesn't play like one. Armello Boone. Remember the name, because I believe he will be doing damage in college basketball for years to come.
Just at the C, he'd look like him so far. 7 for Boone. Amunique again. When you're hot, you're hot.
And in this performance right now, you have Brian Amunique starting to build some confidence with his coach. And more importantly, confidence within himself. Now you know that you can do this in your Wichita State uniform. That can help them moving forward.
Boone is fouled after he did this on the previous possession.
And that's why these games are so great for these coaches. More importantly, you get an opportunity to get some guys some experience, some minutes. Boone starting at the point guard position today with Terrion Murdoch's injured and unavailable to play. And this is something they're going to need him in that spot moving forward throughout this season as they continue as this a tie game at 23. Coach Cronin not going to bring Tegan Moore back clearly until there's a deficit, or they just finish out the half with him sitting on the bench watching really over 16 minutes of game action.
It's a triple sub that did not involve Moore. Hackman, Myers, and Boyd ended the game for Hapner, Simone, and Odiahi. And Western Kentucky, without its leading scorer much of the half, has the lead. Giles, he still hasn't scored. Offensive rebound for Boyd. Giles has taken 2 shots, missed both. No assists in 12 minutes. Across the way for Boyd. It's short. He knew it. 2 offensive rebounds on the possession. Valencia step back 2, and that will not go. Not a crisp possession for the Shockers. Boone wants to take Giles. He bumps. He scores.
But Boone just taking advantage of his size as he gets to a spot. Legally creates some space against Giles and then just raises up and shoots over top of the smaller defender.
11 points for Armello, and Okorafor throws it into the backcourt. A Wichita State violation with Armello Boone on a heater.
And Armello Boone gambled on a defensive play on the offensive end of the floor. He's able to create some separation just using his size, lowering his shoulder. Knocks Giles back enough, creating space for him to get the mid-range jumper off.
That was Armello going classic Carmelo.
You know, that's the second Carmelo Anthony reference you've made today. Now, you know that's my little brother. I call him Little CA. You can't do
That's
that.
your guy.
But you're trying to get some Syracuse references in there. I know what you're doing. You're not going to sneak that past me.
I'm simply going with where the names take me. For 3, no. He's your little brother, and maybe Armello is going to be Carmelo's little brother. Maybe we're establishing a family tree from Alexander to Boone.
That's not the case. Carmelo already has Kyle.
And he's playing very well for Syracuse.
Yes, he is.
Grant Newell. Newell needs an entry, and he finds one with Myers. 26-23, Western Kentucky. 4.5 in this first half. Here's Boone. He's got the big on him. Okorafor knocked away illegally. A reach-in foul against Amunique, and Boone will shoot 2 as Western Kentucky is in the double bonus. Armello Boone out of Lexington, Kentucky. Hank Plona said, I think he can play or guard any position. I think the world of him. He said he has an unbelievably high ceiling. Not a big recruit out of Lexington, but he has made an instant impact for Western Kentucky.
And you know, I love the decision by Armello Boone to go somewhere where he can have an impact as a freshman. I'm sure that, you know, there are other schools that he considered going to that maybe had a bigger name and a higher recruiting budget, but he may have gone and had to sit and watch. The biggest thing for you, especially as a freshman, is to play, be a part of the rotation. Armello Boone, who has been back-to-back conference rookie of the week, is establishing himself as a mainline rotation player now, starting at the point guard position. And we're not sure what happens with Murdoch's and his injury. This could be a permanent fixture for the Hilltoppers at the point guard spot.
I don't know what's gone on this week with New Mexico State or UTEP or the like, but Armello Boone could be a 3-time freshman of the week. He's been in double figures every game here. He's got 12 in the first half. Boyd over the other Boyd. No, that was Noah Boyd. altering the shot of Karadboy. And Noah does have something on him. He has an extra letter in his name, B-O-Y-D-E, which certainly deterred the shot. Newell stepping. Newell, no. Tries to get his own miss out of bounds off of Wichita State. Once again, Western Kentucky has brought the fight to the Bahamas and leads by 4. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's and Marriott Bonvoy. Be sleeping with the fishes tonight in Atlantis.
Not those fish. Those are expensive fish. You got to pay more to sleep with that.
It's our last game here at the Battle for Atlantis. All the scenics we can throw your way. This is Marina Village. And that's where you and I will be partying after the game.
You mean on my yacht down there?
Alexander Yacht.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
The Great Yacht.
Yeah, even better. If I had a yacht, that would absolutely be the name of it.
The Great?
Yes. I would name it that.
Here's your first half little game summary. Tegan Moore, second foul at the 16:26 mark. He has not returned despite a 55-point tournament, and hadn't mattered. Western Kentucky's leading without him.
Yeah, give his teammates a lot of credit for the way they've been able to perform here with their best player off the floor. A number of guys have stepped up. Mello Boone, specifically one of them, the freshman, taking over much of the scoring role.
Deep three miss by Myers. Offensive rebound, L.J. Hackman. Ooh, with a dozen right now. Western Kentucky's had 5 different scores. Shockers, meanwhile, Amunique has 9, Boyd 8, 17 to 23 as Brian Amunique is fouled. Kenyon Giles, who has led Wichita State in scoring in every game this year, is 0 for 3 and hasn't scored a point.
And Kenyon Giles has been saving his best for last throughout this entire tournament. However, his team has gotten down big. Oftentimes in first halves, he's been a big part of their comeback in second halves. But I'm sure Paul Mills would like to see him get going here in this first half to give his team a much better chance moving forward.
1-1 for Amunique. The first will not go. Grant Newell just left the game after his second foul. Hackman charging into Okorafor, throws it on the rim. Okorafor grabs the bobbled basketball. And here's Giles. Started by Edlin. Giles banks it in from a difficult angle.
Giles doesn't play against many guys his size, so he comes down the court with full head of steam and sees Edlin is the only thing between he and the basket and takes the challenge personally.
Boone ran right into Amunique and Boyd and lost it on the Shockers sandwich. Louis Simone is going to check in for Salabunga, so Western Kentucky will go back to 1 big.
See if that bucket gets Giles going. Cause them to be a little more aggressive here in this first half. The Coach Bona going to put size on him, knowing that that may affect him a little more, trapping him off the ball screen, forcing him to get rid of the basket.
Giles was frustrated. He had nowhere to go in the trap. 1,353 point per game score. Now gets the switch on Edlin, who knocks it away, and the ball is loose. It'll be tied up and go to Western Kentucky. 5'10" senior Jack Edlin did well to stay with Giles.
Yeah, we even did the job defensively on that one as Giles tries to sweep through, going around Edlin. Edlin reaching back, getting a hand on the basketball, forcing the tie-up. And possession back to Western Kentucky as Tegan Moore steps back on the floor after missing over 14 minutes of game action.
Yeah, his team was leading by 1 when he left. They're up 2 now. Simona fumbles it. Amunique, ammunition. Brian Amunique has shot it from deep and slammed it from close. What a first half for him. Simona. Here's Boone. Blue past Amunique, and he puts the Toppers back in front, leading to a Hank Plona timeout.
Brian Amunique who had only made one three-point field goal coming into this game, is getting it done on all angles now, getting the steal, getting out in transition, and the highlight to boot.
Nighttime here at Atlantis. Western Kentucky leads Wichita State 29-27. All part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Terry's Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational, the UGG matchup between Miami and Georgetown. Hurricanes lead 34-18 late in the first half. BYU and Dayton to follow in the championship of the Magic bracket. A few different brackets down there in Orlando. Ammunique, he's been the man with 11. He fades, and he misses. Rebound, Tegan Moore. The first four for Western Kentucky. Missed about 14 minutes with 2 fouls. Here's Moore. Can he get going after the long spell on the bench? He cannot. His shot rejected. Here's Boyd pushing the pace. Valencia, no, at the rim. And it's Hackman who rips the ball away from Boyd. Hackman on the deck, back to Boone. Frenzied play. Hackman sets up Newell. In and out. Rebound Boyd. Noah Boyd will put it up short. Tegan Moore in traffic will bank it home. A relentless drive from Western Kentucky.
The resilience of Western Kentucky, and that was a play that didn't look beautiful from the beginning. However, staying scrappy allows them to put 2 more points on the board.
Timeout taken by Wichita State. Western Kentucky has had the lead for about half of this first half. The Hilltoppers once again are playing well at a tournament where they probably came in as the underdog out of the 8 teams, but they hung with Vanderbilt, only lost by 5. They had South Florida beat. They blew a 7-point lead in the final minute, lost that game in overtime, and now they are ahead of Wichita State with halftime looming.
And they're finding new things when you consider the fact that Tegan Moore missed a lot of time in foul trouble here in this first half, playing without their starting point guard, Terrion Murdoch. Coach Plona is finding more and more about his team that will help them moving forward once they get into conference play in 2026.
Team that looks like a real contender early in Conference USA. Liberty the favorite there. New Mexico State started 6-0. Western Kentucky with all these newcomers and a head coach in Hank Plona, who was a big winner at the JUCO level, has hung tough against good competition. Final possession of the half. Giles off for Boyd. It's a lazy pass, nearly pickpocketed by Hackman. Boyd comes charging in and a foul. Hackman can't believe it. And the clock is winding down right now. That's got to stop. It stopped at 2.7. It should have stopped a few seconds before.
Hank Plona going over and looking at Garrick Shannon after arguing the call.
There should be around 8 seconds left on the clock, and the officials will sort it out.
But the concern was for Western Kentucky was that Boyd ran into one of his teammates. Not as much of it being a foul. That was the discussion amongst Western Kentucky. They felt as though they did a great job defensively. And as you see Boyd attacking the basket, he does run into Williams on that possession. So that's why Hackman was concerned, and they were so emphatic on the sideline. A little shocked that with the time, Coach Plona didn't challenge that.
Well, I think he challenged the officials in one way. Boyd with 6.6 will shoot the first of 2. Tegan Moore, who had checked out for defensive purposes, comes back in for the final shot of the half. Moore with only 6. He's only played about 5 minutes and a half because of foul trouble. And yet Western Kentucky should lead going into the break. Cam Hafner will replace Keita. Moore, the inbounder for the Hilltoppers, gets it back from Hackman.
And this is where he's got to be careful attacking the basket, making sure he does not get an offensive foul. Does a great job staying in attack mode, but under control to make sure he didn't get an offensive, and finds his way to the free throw line for 2.
And he picks up the second on Okorafor. Gray, Bird, Kindle, and Okorafor all have 2 fouls for Wichita State. And look, this is what Western Kentucky does. They get to the line and make their living there. They took 33 free throw attempts in the opening game against Vanderbilt. And this will be their 12th of the first half tonight.
And they're going to get Moore out of the game to make sure he doesn't pick up that third. Smart move by Coach Cronin. 2.5 seconds remaining. Don't put him in harm's way.
Keita will replace him again. So the Shockers are going to get the final shot after all. It's into Giles, just 2 points in the half. And he'll end the half 1 for 5. Western Kentucky has hung tough. Tegan Moore with a quiet first half because of the foul trouble. Kenyon Giles only had 2. And the Hilltoppers, led by Armello Boone, 14, have a 4-point lead. 1.5 to go here at the battle for Atlantis. Either Western Kentucky or Wichita State will be heading back to Bowling Green or Wichita with a victory in their pocket. Feast Week presented by Lowe's. This is the Marriott Bonvoy Men's Battle for Atlantis. One more walk over the rope bridge here at the Atlantis Resort. Western Kentucky leads Wichita State 33-29. What's at stake? Well, we're just being told the winner of this game gets Lane Kiffin as their next coach. Breaking news here at Atlantis.
I'm just glad we were on camera so everyone saw who said that and who didn't.
I think it was pretty obvious. Let's be real. Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander. Winner of this game gets a win. Nobody wants to get out of here without a win.
Absolutely not. And that's the thing you're playing for in this final 20 minutes of the second half. When you consider the fact that when you leave here, you want to leave on a positive note. That both these teams have an opportunity to do it. The numbers have been pretty much identical from both sides. 2 more field goals made for Western Kentucky is the reason why they hold the 4-point lead.
Hilltoppers, who were hanging tight with Vanderbilt and South Florida, on a knockoff Wichita State. First half stats brought to you by Marriott Bonvoy. There's Tegan Moore, who only had 8 points. Impressive that he got to 8. He played such limited minutes, only 5 minutes 40 seconds in the first half because of foul trouble. Kenyon Giles has been once again held in check in the first half for the Shockers. Wichita State will begin with the ball. They've been led by Brian Amunique, 11 off the bench, and Karan Boyd, who had an early 10. Boyd has the ball, guarded by Moore here at the start of the second half. A lot of foul trouble for the Shocks. 4 players with 2. Giles. Well, it's the second half. It's his time again. As we get a whistle right after the bucket. And that's Garrick Shannon separating from afar Blaze Keita with Will Burke.
Just letting them know that's enough. We've seen all we're going to see of the talking, of the physical play getting tangled up. So therefore, the next time it happens, there will be a whistle blown with a violation for one or both of those players.
Could be a sense of desperation down the stretch. Teams trying to get a win here. Moore missed his shot, punched it ahead to Giles. C.J. Williams pass deflected by Armello Boone.
Great job by Boone getting a hand in the passing lane there, getting the deflection. Doesn't get the basketball back, but does take Wichita State out of their offensive rhythm.
Paul Mills said yesterday, we didn't have the fight we needed to win a game of that caliber. We were too casual in the first half. They trailed at the break. What do you make of their fight for 20 minutes?
I thought their fight was better, and they were able to get from other guys outside of Kenyon Giles, their leading scorer. Now Giles is able to step up, knock down a big 3 here to give his team a 1-point lead.
And when he starts smiling and clapping and yelling, his presence fills the arena at 5'10", 172. A challenge on the shot of Newell. Trey Kindle starts the second half again. He is on the floor for the tie-up. Remember, Kendall started the second half for Gray yesterday, and he's doing so again.
Yeah, and they're a team that really operates better with Drake Kendall at the point guard position. Gray was a 40% three-point shooter last year, a guy that they should rely on to score more so. But with the size in the backcourt with Kendall and Giles together, that could be a detriment to Wichita State's defense. So I believe that's the reason why Coach Mills sticks with Gray as the starter. However, there are times where you're going to have Kendall and Giles on the floor together. They can really pressure you defensively with those two guards.
Berg just got hit with a foul. Will Berg against a cutting Keita had his hands on him, and he picks up a third.
But that goes back to following the scouting report, recognizing Keita isn't much of a scorer. So one thing that Will Berg should not do is waste fouls in trying to deny Keita opportunities. Again, play off of him. Make sure that you're in help position.
Berg will stay in with 3. Starting Keita right now, hands it off to L.J. Hackman. Just checked in for Armello Boone. Hackman has a good substitution, apparently. 5 for Hackman off the bench, the transfer from Jones College.
Well, I can tell you that was a defensive substitution. Boone was the primary defender on Kenyon Giles, where Giles scored 5 points early in this second half. So Coach Plona going to Hackman instead is based upon his defense.
And Hackman draws a foul. This is going to be on Kendall. It's his third as well. 2 Shockers have 3 early in the second. And Michael Gray Jr. is going to get to the scores table and replace Kendall, whose second half starting stint is shortened. L.J. Hackman, 64%. Hits the first.
But Hackman turning his back, attacking a smaller guard in Kendall. He doesn't have an advantage size-wise against Michael Gray Jr., so Gray will provide a different resistance on the defensive end of the floor. And again, this is the reason why Gray's the starter. In comparison to Kendall, it's his size and his ability to defend on one end of the other end.
Gray out there with Williams, Boyd, Giles, and Berg. Giles gets a screen from Berg. Now another. Puts up the 3 with Keita contested. I believe, stay with Wichita State.
But I believe if Giles had followed through, honestly, with his shot, in comparison to, just kind of throwing it up in the air, he would have gotten the foul. But by him pulling away from the contact, he allowed Keita off the hook. Watch how he kind of pulls back here in comparison to going into his regular shooting form. If he does so, Keita most likely would have fouled him, and he'd be shooting 3 free throws.
Williams lowers his arm into Hackman, and Williams scores it.
And Williams took exception to Hackman trying to post up Kendall on the other end of the floor, so he basically gave him a taste of his own medicine, backing down the smaller guard, going to work, and getting a bucket. And that's an advantage you have with Williams, his ability to handle the basketball. We know he goes left strong, but this way he's able to turn back, get to that dominant left hand, and finish over the top of a smaller guard.
I wonder if Hackman tries to sell that. Maybe he gets the charge call. He really didn't, and then he was looking at the officials.
Very difficult to get offensive foul in today's game.
That's true. Times have changed in that respect for the better. Newell running the floor. It'll be Hilltopper basketball. Okorafor has entered for Berg. Boone back out there, inbounds to Hafner.
Nice box out by Williams.
Cleared space against Newell, T.J. Williams. Former Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year, Williams, no at the rim. Hafner takes it away from Boyd. Cam Hafner, transfer from Evansville, who had 18, and the loss to Vanderbilt a season high at 9 yesterday. Here's Boone, Nice find. Newell, stop. Newell, too strong.
Great job by Okorafor staying vertical, not bringing those arms down and picking up that foul, forcing the miss by Newell under the basket.
Williams on the clear out again. Wants to take it into the paint against Hafner. And bounce it out instead. Gray. Okorafor. Okorafor slithers the bounce pass through. How did he see Giles?
But a nice cut by Giles and a great find by Okorafor in tight space there to be able to pick up the bucket.
37-36, Western Kentucky by 1. 8 ties, 8 lead changes. Giles knocked it away from Newell. He's losing about 10 inches to Newell here. Newell then throws it away. Giles holds up and then chest bumps T.J. Williams.
But again, that gets you going. A defensive stop, a smaller guard going up against a much bigger player in the post, and getting the stop has energized the Shockers, and a beautiful find between 3 defenders in gray jerseys there, and then Giles celebrating his defensive effort.
Remember what Paul Mills told us? He and his staff were looking for a wing player. He said they were in a room, they were looking at a bunch of players, wings between about 6'5", 6'7". Kenyon Giles is absolutely not that, as that's going to be a goaltend against Noah Boyd. He said he was not at all what we were looking for, but we just kind of got mesmerized watching him, and they knew they had to have him here in Wichita.
After watching hours of film on Kenyon Giles, Coach Mills went to his staff, as we see the goaltending call, went to his staff and asked them which of the wings, and as you mentioned, they watched all these guys, 6'5" to 6'7", which of the wings do you want? And it was unanimous. The entire staff said, we want Kenyon Giles, even though he did not fit the description of what they were looking for.
The guy with the smallest wings of all has become their leading scorer. He's up to 9 tonight.
But
Just got screened out of the play. Yes. Boone hoists up a 3 with 3 to go on the shot clock. Right to Okorafor. They better pick up Giles in transition here. You know he's feeling the moment. Giles around more, and Boone swats it away like a gnat. But Wichita State, which was down 4 at the half, has surged up 4 with a 6-0 run. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's and by Atlantis Paradise Island, the discovery of a lifetime. Battle for Atlantis championship, 2 undefeated teams. St. Mary's is undefeated no more. The 24th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores were 96-71 winners. 5 players in double figures. They get the conch shell, or as the locals call it, the conch, on the trophy. And Vanderbilt blisters St. Mary's to win the 2025 Battle for Atlantis. Very impressive performance all week by the Commodores.
It really was. And of course, Duke Miles stepping up, the tournament most valuable player, breaking the tournament record for scoring. But you had so many other guys. Tyler Nickel, you saw in the highlights, knocking down threes. Jalen Washington, a career high 19 points in his efforts off the bench this afternoon.
Here's a wild stat. St. Mary's allows 90-plus for the first time in a regulation game since February 8th, 2020, when Gonzaga did it, courtesy of the college basketball genius Trilly Donovan. That's 2,120 days since St. Mary's has allowed 90 in regulation. With their pace, with their defense, nobody typically comes close to 90, but that's how good Vanderbilt is.
Yeah, February 8th, 2020 was a completely different world.
That was pre-COVID.
There you go. That's why it was a different world.
Free throw good for Okorafor. Salabunge just picked up his second foul.
Now, let me also add that St. Mary's finished their game, their first round game, at 10 p.m. on Wednesday night. They finished their second round game around 5 p.m. on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and then they played a championship game at 1 p.m. The schedule was not in their favor when you consider that Vanderbilt played at noon, and 1. Right. I mean, again, so and when you're flying from Nashville, Tennessee, in comparison to flying from Moraga, California. That is a difference in travel. I do believe that the Gales were a little worn down by championship time.
I think that's very reasonable to say. Boone, 3 is no good.
And I'm not saying that Vanderbilt isn't a better team. I don't think they're 25 points better.
Now Vanderbilt, I believe, chartered here by themselves. St. Mary's, we were told, actually picked up Colorado State in their charter on the way to Atlantis, going from Moraga to Fort Collins. Colorado State got half of the plane. St. Mary's got the other half.
And those teams will go back together.
That's right. So whoever got the front half, we think St. Mary's got the front. We'll get into the back this time. And Colorado State will be dropped off first in Fort Collins as these teams chartered down to Nassau. 8-0 Wichita State run here in the 7th place game. Shots by 5. Here's Myers from Newell. Myers driving, floats it up for nobody in particular. Wichita State has been excellent defensively. Haven't given up a bucket in about 4 minutes. Giles, Okorafor, left hand finish.
But you see the difference on both sides. When Okorafor catches the basketball, he is an immediate threat around the basket. On the other end of the floor, K-Top or Boyd aren't threats. So therefore, the Shockers can stay stout on defense. Back to Atlantis, and you'll see the opportunity where Wichita State has changed what they're doing defensively in the second half. As Keita catches the basketball, he is being defended by a 5'10" point guard in the middle of the paint. However, there is no reason to double team. There's no mismatch there, which ends up forcing a tough shot for Western Kentucky, maybe even a turnover here that allows Wichita State to get out on the offensive end of the floor. And again, that's a much better job defensively by the Shockers, playing to the scouting report in the second half.
And they've held Western Kentucky to 1 for 9. Okorafor just took a shot to the head, and Will Howard will stop the play. Emmanuel Okorafor has had another impactful game off the bench. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and assist.
Okorafor deciding not to challenge the shot, goes up and grabs the rebound, and immediately covers up the left eye.
We told you earlier in the week, Okorafor in the last home game against Milwaukee got the migraine chain for causing the most headaches for the opposition. Unfortunately, Brent Newell gives him an eye ache here. A little poke down below will knock him out of the game for Burke. Back on the floor with 3. There's a nice finish by Karan Boyd. Largest lead right now for Wichita State at 9. Moore yet to score the second half. Off for Boone. He leads the way with 14. Make it 16. Ties the season high.
You know, every coach has their own philosophy behind it. I completely understand the reason why Hank Mona left Tegan Moore on the bench. As you see, Carmelo Boone, who has carried the offensive load for the Hilltoppers, while Moore sat in the first half and is doing so here in the second. But when you consider, do you think that took Tegan Moore out of his offensive rhythm? I mean, you're talking about the guy that's been playing offense better than anyone in this tournament thus far. And now you see the lack of aggressiveness from him here in this second half. I do believe that stretch of having to watch took a toll on him.
Moore sets up a 3. It's good. They needed it. Grant Newell ending a 12-2 run.
He's been fortunate to get some help from his friends. We talked about Moore now with 16 points, which is tying a career high that he set against Vanderbilt. And now Newell stepping up and making big shots.
And Newell stripped it from Boyd. But Newell will be hit with a foul.
Tegan Moore manipulating the screen and roll action, and Valencia just helping too much. When you help off that ball side corner, that's easy pickings for that corner shooter. Newell able to knock down the 3-ball.
It's actually Boone with a foul, his first, and Western Kentucky's third. Michael Gray Jr. in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Starting backcourt from the state of Virginia, by the way, for the Shockers.
Brendan Giles, Chesapeake.
7-5-7.
Hackman to the line for 2. You know the zip code here, by the way?
Oh, I have no idea.
242. They like to say 242 to the world here in the Bahamas. 46242 right now. Another beautiful night in the Bahamas. Still waters here in Nassau. Very windy day today. Not a red flag warning on the beach, but a half red, half yellow flag, which means severe conditions, swim at your own risk.
Does that mean that my buddies, the Sharks, are looming?
Well, I was in the water and they were not there.
Man.
So they didn't get me this time.
But I told them you would be there. It would be your time, so I could have this show all to myself.
Well, have it to yourself now. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Being that you're here, I'll let you do the heavy lifting.
I have, in a 7th place tournament game before, I have let my analyst do play-by-play for a segment back at the PK80 in 2017. Sean Farnham just took over play-by-play, which is not surprising if you know Sean.
No, not surprising at all.
Oh, they're your buddies.
They're my guys right there. I tell you what, I went out to watch the feeding today. It is unreal. The amount of water that is splashed out of that pool is significant. If you stand close by and try to film it, you're going to get wet.
It looks like you and I, when we hear that catering has arrived. I'm told there's a 9 o'clock snack, by the way. We're on the verge. 24 minutes from the snack, 11:40 from perhaps the end of this game. Western Kentucky's done one overtime.
Defensively, they try to go to the lob.
Little missed time by Kendall, and there's more. He's back. And he can give the Toppers the lead on a 9-0 run.
And maybe Tegan Moore starts to get into a rhythm now as his bucket ties the game at 46. And oftentimes the best time to use your lob is against a 2-3 zone. However, Western Kentucky prepared for the lob play. Take it away. And the turnover turns into a lead on the other end as Tegan Moore completes the 3-point play.
A young man who set the Kentucky high school state record, made 848 free throws in high school. Moore has now made 22 of 24 free throws here at the Battle for Atlantis. Inside to Berg. There's the thunderous finish they've been waiting for.
And more importantly, attacking the rim, getting there quickly. Even though it was a bounce pass where he showed great hands to be able to handle the bounce pass, got in the air quickly, dunks it through for the short 2.
7-2 redshirt junior from Sweden has the 10th lead change of the game. Boone into Giles. Berg comes up to help. Hackman. Rainbow. No. Long rebound. Moore didn't hit the rim. Shot clock hasn't reset. Moore leans in. Got the rim. Giles grabs the rebound. 1-point Shocker lead. Giles. Shot fake. Lets it fly.
How about the pump fake from Kenyon Giles, though, to allow Hackman to just fly right past and then cash out from the wing.
51-47. Shockers answer the 10-0 run with 5 straight points. Boone bumped off Berg. Newell, a deep one. That will go. Grant Newell has hit a couple of threes, and he makes it a 1-point game again.
Confident shot by Grant Newell. Never second-guessed it. As soon as he got it in his hands, let it go as the Hilltoppers fall back into the zone defensively.
51-50, a Van Halen-esque score as Valencia jumps and is bumped. We'll shoot 2.
It's been a back-and-forth affair as of late. Kenyon Giles with the pump fake allows his defender to fly by and then calmly steps up. Great rotation on the basketball, knocks down the 3, and then no hesitation from Grant Newell. The top of the key 3 is good.
Foul the third on Blaze Keita. Been a best of both worlds. Second half, back and forth we go. Wichita State leading by 2. Uh-oh.
This is my neighbor, by the way. So if you can hear this very well, it's probably coming through my microphone as he's standing right beside me.
Oh, he was right about the miss, but there was a lane
there
violation.
He is, right there.
There's your guy.
Yeah, there's my guy. But I respect what he's doing here. I mean, the 7th place game, he's made the trip here. He's, of course, a tremendous Western Kentucky supporter. And he has been here. He actually tried to dap me up and to say, go Tops. I would not reciprocate.
Didn't take the bait.
I root for no one.
He just answered his phone, by the way.
Oh, yeah, because he's blowing up right now.
That's
the
right.
blow up is real.
It's like Nate Bargatze's bearded cousin as a Western Kentucky fan. 52-50 is the Wichita State lead. Off the shot fake, Boone.
Love it. Love how Boone didn't over-penetrate. Gets to the mid-range, pulls up, shoots a regular mid-range jump shot that counts for 2.
Oh, they left Giles open, and they did not pay the price. A break for the Tops.
Armello Boone playing well beyond his years. The pump fake, getting to the midi, pulls up, knocks it down. You know that's the 3rd time that Gary Maxwell has thrown a cough drop at me.
You were able to
the cough drop rapper.
You were able to finish through contact. Alexander and 1. Boone, jitterbug. Oh,
that is nice.
Shake and bake from Armello. He's got 20. Kendall thought about it. 7-1 Hilltopper run. Back and forth go the runs here in the second half. Kendall's 3 is rebounded by Hackman. L.J. Hackman.
It's the second time. It looks as he was going to try to take Giles to the post. He did it with Kendall earlier.
And Hackman is bumped by Giles. A foul before the shot will be Giles' first.
Armello Boone, after going to the mid-range, this time the crafty move to put the 7-footer on his heels, quick enough to get to the rim and finish it off, establishing a new career high. 20 points for Armello Boone here with 8:25 remaining.
Both Boone and Moore have set 2 career highs here at the Battle for Atlantis, and Boone adds to it. He is on fire. 22 for Boone at the bucket in the mid-range from deep. A true 3-level scoring performance from the freshman. Berg. Oh, they ripped the ball away from Berg again. He taps it to Kendall. It stays with the Shockers, and then a reach-in foul. Grant Newell picks it up, 5th on Western Kentucky, which is back in front.
Armello Boone finding his way here in paradise, getting to the midi, knocking it down, and establishing a new career high.
It's Wichita State in the final game here in Atlantis. Tomorrow night, WWE Survivor Series and War Games, Petco Park in San Diego at 7 Eastern on the ESPN app. Stream it with the unlimited plan. The main event, a 5-on-5 match with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar in the 2-ring steel cage. The Shockers and the Hilltoppers. Game summary, Armello Boone, 6-0 run individually. A career high 22 for Boone. 11 lead changes tonight. It's been an entertaining game. We've had an entertaining night session 3 nights in a row.
We really have quality basketball from all the teams involved, especially in our night sessions, and I love the way that these 2 teams are competing, trying their best to not leave the island without a win, and going at it 3 games in 3 days. The legs are weary, there's fatigue. However, mentally, both these teams are locked in.
Michael Gray Jr. will inbound it. Fouls are 5-5. Western Kentucky still has the possession arrow. Boyd with 14, Giles 12 for the shots. Here's Boyd. Now Gray. Thought about a deep one from 3. It's bounced into T.J. Williams. He's got to go. Got the back of the rim. Berg, offensive rebound, fouled from behind. Hackman lives up to his name and picks up his 3rd.
But I love the effort by Berg on the offensive glass. He gets the offensive rebound, but he's not turning and looking to throw the basketball out. He's looking to score a second chance opportunity.
Berg from Stockholm, Sweden. At Purdue for 3 years. He played in 35 games. Did start 3. More spots to clean up. Foul was actually on Noah Boyd, not on Hackman from behind, so Boyd picks up his first.
Hackman just caught a stray. You're talking about him living up to his name, and he didn't even commit the foul.
Poor guy. There's the Boyd-Boyd matchup, by the way. The E is silent for one of them. And Noah Boyd is going to check out for Keita, who's got a bandage on his right shoulder. Been a physical week. Some dips in the pool, some rest and relaxation. Not just for fun, required in between games. These have been some gritty games, especially for the Shockers. We trailed the entire second half against St. Mary's till a late 3 by Dre Kendall. Gave up the final 6, lost by 5. Colorado State trailed the whole game, cut a 21-point lead to 5, but couldn't close and lost 76-70. Gonna get out of here with a win. Western Kentucky leads by 2, though. Put the ball in Boone's hands again. He's got the last 6 and a game high 22. Now Newell. Pull up 2. Grant Newell has shown an exquisite touch.
He really hasn't. Grant Newell only played 10 minutes in their opening loss to Vanderbilt. Injured an ankle in the first half of the game, did not return, so it was surprising to see him on the floor yesterday, but it looks to be no lingering effects of the injury as he has played very good basketball here this evening.
Okorafor again finds a cutter, and Boyd missed it. It's a tie-up that will go to the Hilltoppers. Some great looks from Emmanuel Okorafor in this second half, but Boyd could not convert. Ron Boyd and Kenyon Giles have flip-flopped for Wichita State tonight. At the moment, it's not enough. Boone with 22, Newell with 13, Moore with 11. Here's Boone. Rebound Giles, who has pulled down 4 of those. Gray, pull up 3. How about that?
That's a huge bucket. Gray has struggled to shoot the basketball during his time here at Atlantis, but confidently steps up and a walk-up 3 to make it a 1-point game.
Shockers have missed their last 4. Newell in the corner, got another.
Coach Hank Zona excited to have Newell back on the floor and feeling good about things. Strong second half of Grant Newell, extending the lead. I believe they're going to look at that as a 2, saying his foot was on the line.
It is at the moment called a 2, so the lead is 3. Not anymore. Giles from distance, his 3rd.
And this is now Kenyon Giles' time. This is where we've really seen him come alive here in this tournament. Under 6 minutes. Look to see him be even more aggressive down the stretch.
Newell again. Heat check. That is certainly a 3.
Well, Grant Newell comes into the tournament as the Hilltoppers' 2nd leading scorer. Didn't score in their first round game, left with injury as we see Kenyon Giles once again with a beautiful rotation. knocking down the three, but not to be outdone by Grant Newell, who knocks down consecutive shots, this time for three, and a nice little celly on the way back.
18 is his season high for Newell, 3 shy of a career high he set a couple of years ago for Cal against Washington. 63-60, 11 ties, 11 lead changes, a great back and forth affair here in the final game of the 2025 Battle for Atlantis. Coming up on ESPN, the championship of the Magic Bracket, the Terry's Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational between A.J. DeBonsa's BYU Cougars and the Dayton Flyers. So more great basketball once this game concludes. Western Kentucky has made 7 of its last 8. And the hot Hilltoppers are on top. Wichita State will inbound. Giles with 15 now leads away. He scored 15 in every game as a shot creator.
Back to the zone defensively for the Hilltoppers.
Williams passes out of it. Oh, Okorafor. Giles hasn't had a touch on this possession. Okorafor, spinorama. Boyd whipped to the ground. Oh, he traveled against Boyd. Turnover.
Give Boyd a tremendous amount of credit for getting in there, coming up with the offensive rebound, but just unable to corral it, keeping his balance. And as he goes to the floor, hard to fall and not keep the pivot foot.
A pretty clean turnover game after Western Kentucky had committed 36 turnovers in the first 2 games. They came into this tournament a top 10 team in the nation in turnover rate. They came into today 69th in turnover rate, but they've been much cleaner. Myers, Keita.
But this is why I'm not sure why Okorafor is so far out on the floor denying Keita. It's not as though he's going to shoot the basketball. He really could have jammed him up defensively.
Newell's getting a breather. Okorafor flashes on more there. Myers has to hoist. Oh! He didn't have to, Ryan Myers, it turned out. He did. He drilled it. And this is the largest Hilltopper lead. Gray. No answer. Fight for the ball. It's going to Wichita State off the knee of Okorafor. Saved by Moore. What a little flurry here for Western Kentucky, which leads by 6. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball brought to you by Marriott Bonvoy and Atlantis Paradise Island, Bahamas, the discovery of a lifetime.
To fire at the end of the shot clock and is able to knock down the 3-ball to give the Hilltoppers a 6-point lead. Going down the stretch, 3:52 remaining in our final game in the Marriott Bonvoy Battle for Atlantis.
Western Kentucky had missed 6 straight shots since then. Hilltoppers are 11 for 14. Myers with a big 3, the 7-3 for Western Kentucky. Much better ball handling today, Corey. 36 turnovers the first 2 games. They've only coughed it up 6 times today, and they have a 6-point lead.
All right, quick math. What's the average of that first 2 games?
18.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's your best math you've done the entire week.
Thank you very much.
You struggled earlier.
It's because you keep asking me questions with quick reactions. No, I don't ask you to do quick math.
But I would actually excel at that.
All right, Wichita State's 20 for 51. What's their field goal percentage?
20 for 51?
Yeah.
That would be 44%.
Yeah, 39.2.
I didn't say I was going to get it right. I said I could do it.
This is true. Game summary, Giles with 15 has come out in the second half. Boone with 22. And the Hilltoppers with the ball. 11 lead changes. Western Kentucky hoping there will not be a 12th. Myers. Push to his right hand. Got through to Boone. Too strong. And a foul. It's going to go against Tegan Moore. That's the 7th on Western Kentucky. So Wichita State is the first team in the bonus. It's Moore's 3rd. He's done well after committing 2 fouls in the first 3:34 of the game, not to get another.
But he's played a great floor game in the second half, more so than he has been looking to attack and score. He had a couple opportunities in transition, but 11 points or more in this game, far below his tournament average, but still very effective here in the second half, helping his team build a 6-point lead.
1-1 for Okorafor, 10 for 12 on the year. And a big miss, but it's rebounded by Wichita State and Williams. Then he loses control to Keita. Missed opportunity for the Shockers. Moore spinning around, draws the contact and scores it. How many end-one opportunities has Tegan Moore had this week?
Well, you mentioned the young man set the Kentucky State high school record for free throws, and it's because he initiates the contact. Beautiful spin move, but watch him jump into Boyd. But as Boyd invades his cylinder, he has the right to that space, so he creates the contact, but the concentration is still go off the glass, get the bucket, and an opportunity for the three-point play.
Brian Amunique checks in for Wichita State. He had 11 in the first half, and he hasn't played it in the second half until now. So Western Kentucky, after Giles tied the game at 60, is on a 9-0 run. Can they close like they were unable to do against South Florida yesterday?
And Western Kentucky will stay in the zone defensively. They'll allow Williams to shoot the jumper, but you got to keep him away from the basket. That's where he's so dangerous.
Okorafor is fouled on the way up. 2 shots coming. Keita's 4th foul.
9-0 run for Western Kentucky after the game was tied at 60, and momentum on the side of the Shockers. Western Kentucky has kind of found their way. Ryan Myers with the 3-ball, of course, Tegan Moore with the 3-point play in the last possession.
Okorafor, who just missed the front of a 1-on-1, hits. Amunique comes right back out of the game for Boyd. So Brian Amunique, who had a great first half, has played now all of 17 seconds here in the second half. Two free throws for Okorafor. 7-point game. 2:50 to go.
The reason why Amunique came right back out of the game is because this is the matchup, the best matchup that Coach Mills liked. It was Boyd guarding Tegan Moore. However, when they create the switch, Tegan Moore gets exactly what he wants, going right by Michael Gray Jr.
He still may get to that tournament scoring record the way he's heating up down the stretch. He's got 16 tonight, 67 for the tournament. Okorafor flies in after a missed 3 by Gray, gets fouled again. Who's this on? Moore was in the mix there. That's going to be Tegan Moore's 4th foul after this bucket.
But Tegan Moore attacking off the bounce. He got the switch, and it really shouldn't have been a switch. It was more of a lazy switch defensively. The reason why Paul Mills put Boyd back in the game was to guard Tegan Moore, but a simple switch allowed Moore to have everything that he wanted on the offensive end of the floor.
So for the 3rd straight possession, Okorafor goes to the foul line. This was a non-shooting foul. It's another 1-and-1, and this time he gets the first. Okorafor 5 of 6 at the line, 7 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. He's been a much more productive big for 2 of the 3 games here in Atlantis over Berg. And he goes 2 for 2. Leaves back to 7, 71-64. 2 timeouts for Western Kentucky, all 3 for Wichita State. Moore. Boy, the SoCon Defensive Player of the Year at East Tennessee State, slapping at the ball. Now it's a switch. Okorafor has got to pick up Moore here on the baseline. Moore can't finish. And the rebound down to Giles. Here's Giles for three, got fouled. And he will make this a 4-point game if he can hit his free throws at the line.
It's oftentimes difficult when you're playing against a guy like Kenyon Giles, he can be so dangerous on the perimeter, but you have to stay disciplined and be able to contest shots without fouling. Rarely are you going to block a three-point shot. The key is just try to make it difficult. Try to take away his vision. Get a hand up in front of him so he can't see the basket. But it's very rare that you're going to block his shot. So therefore, don't put him in that position to be able to go get three at the free throw line.
Giles gets all three.
None of them touched the rim, by the way.
Silky smooth senior. Transferred from UNCG. Began his career at Radford. Will end it in Wichita. 4-point game, 95 seconds.
Once again, this is the matchup that Coach Mills wants, guarding Tegan Moore. He wants Boyd to be the primary defender and doesn't want him to switch off.
Now the switch Okorafor. Moore shoves it into Keita.
They can make a play.
He's not an offensive threat. He got it on the rim. It's Giles, who has 6 rebounds in the game. Down by 4. Williams, Wise, and thunder. TJ, terrific jam. 2-point game and a timeout, Wichita State. Some late night juice from the Wichita Kid.
And I love the fact that Dre Kimball trusted TJ Williams with a head of steam, recognizing that Tegan Moore is playing with 4 fouls. There's nothing he can do. And even if he didn't have 4 fouls, he can't contest that. There's nothing you can do with TJ Williams with this much speed coming down the middle of the floor other than get out of his way and try your best not to find yourself on the wrong side of a highlight.
Paul Mills told us 95% of the time you don't have the ball in your hand. And TJ Williams embraces that 95. Well, he really embraced the 5% right there. That was a furious finish.
TJ Williams has embraced that 5%. I think that rate has gone up a little bit for how well he's played throughout this tournament. He's been great attacking the basket, especially going left. And more often than not, if he's not scoring, he's finding one of his teammates. But that spectacular dunk may rival Armello Boone's dunk from night number 1 for the dunk of this tournament.
And Hank Plona saw his team blow a 7-point lead in the final minute yesterday. Right now it's a 7-0 Wichita State run. A 9-point lead has been cut to 2 in the final minute. We have been lucky to have great basketball theater here in the Bahamas, and we have it in our final game. Moore around the screen. Moore into 2. Shockers throws it up for grabs. Here comes Giles. Hafner dives on the deck, takes the ball away, and Moore emerges from the fray. What a defensive play by Cam Hafner, speeding into position to knock it away from Giles.
And right now, Giles wondering why was there a whistle blown on that possession. It was Hafner who actually tripped Giles, forcing him to lose the basketball. He stepped on his heel and makes a great play, but look at that. He steps on the back of his foot, and which causes Giles to lose the basketball. And Giles still wondering why there was no call on that play. Paul Mills having a conversation with Gary Maxwell. And to be completely honest, the officials were shielded. You couldn't see that from where the officials were behind the play.
So Moore was fouled. A 1-and-1. He gets the first. Makes this a 3-point game. 2 timeouts apiece. That was a foul, not a jump also. Western Kentucky still has the arrow. Moore goes 2 for 2. It's a 2-possession game with 38 seconds remaining. Michael Gray Jr. checks back in for Drake Kindle. We're going to get a timeout with 38 seconds to go. Now the timeout was taken by the Shockers, leaving them with just 1. Free throws by Moore snap a 7-0 run after the loose ball, the contact between Hafner and Giles. It was not called a foul. Western Kentucky emerged with the basketball, got a couple of free throws out of it.
As you see the turnover, Kenyon Giles on his way, but right there, the trip from behind, and it's not an intentional trip. Hafner's trying to catch up to the play. By doing so, he steps on Giles' heel, which forces Giles to lose the basketball, and then the scrum ensues. But it's small things like that that cost you down the stretch. And again, there was nothing Kenyon Giles could have done differently about that play. It's an inadvertent trip, but the officials didn't see it, and it ends up being a turnover for Wichita State on a very valuable possession.
Ball is bounced into Gray. 38 seconds to go. A must-score possession for the Shockers. Boyd looking inside. Boyd now looking for Giles. Got Hafner in the air. Has to give it up. Williams a three. No good. Offensive rebound. Boyd, there's a foul with 21.1. Double bonus, so Karan Boyd will have 2 free throws for Wichita State. Boyd is not a great free throw shooter. He's 13 for 20, 65% on the year. And now the Western Kentucky players are going over to their bench. Hank Plum is chatting with Garrick Shannon. The Wichita State players are still hanging out, ready for the Boyd free throws.
That means that someone is fouled out. I believe that would be Tegan Moore.
Yes.
So you have your time to be able to make your substitution. Tegan Moore picked up his 5th foul.
So 21.1 to go. Moore is out. Their leading scorer for the tournament, 18 today, and they're not going to have him down the stretch.
And also their most reliable free throw shooter, as he reaches in with Boyd picking up the offensive rebound.
Boy, he got 2 early, none until late minutes in the rest of the game, and then 3 pretty quick ones.
And Paul Mills getting Drake Kendall back into the game. Very important first free throw.
He missed it deep.
But even still, without that one, this one becomes even more important. And the reason being is because it makes it a 1-possession game if you are able to make it. And you stop play, which forces Western Kentucky to have to inbound the basketball against Wichita State's pressure. That's why Drake Kendall is in the game. They have a number of defenders that can pick up 94 feet and make life difficult for Western Kentucky, especially without their best free throw shooter.
Boyd hits the second, 73-70. Remember, it's still a 1-1 for Western Kentucky on a foul. Boone inbounds it to Myers, who is fouled.
I like it. You prefer that. Go ahead and foul early. Put Myers at the line. It's a 1-1 to see if he can give you the front end. If not, give you one of them. It's still a 1-possession game right now.
Myers is 9 of 13 at the line this year. Okorafor is back in the game along with Gray. Keita checks in for Hafner for defense. Big man's going to play free safety right now. So 1-1 Ryan Myers. Western Kentucky 16 for 20 at the line today. Myers' first attempt is up and good. 2-possession game once more. Paul Mills sends Amunique to the scorer's table. As Myers makes it a 5-point game, Amunique, a 3-point threat, will come in and replace Boyd.
And now trailing 5. You want to see if you can get a quick look from 3 on this possession. You have to trust that you're going to have to foul again. You want to get as many quick looks from 3 as possible.
They're going to have to get a three at some point. Ammunique's holding the ball. They've got to do something. That's the wrong something. Gray, three-pointer. In and out. Rebound Newell. And he's fouled. Western Kentucky is going to finish the job today.
And Gray, on that possession, did a tremendous job coming up with the loose ball. But he did miss their best three-point shooter, Kenyon Giles, who was standing wide open ahead of him. As you see the time taken away and the collision there, but it leaves Kenyon Giles wide open to Gray's left. Gray decides to take the shot. Not on fault the young man for taking that shot, but he doesn't hand it off to that best three-point shooter, giving him an opportunity to make it a two-point game.
Newell misses the free throw. The heave from Gray is no good. Western Kentucky fought hard from the first game at the Battle for Atlantis, and Hank Plota's Hilltoppers will fly home with a win, 75-70 over Wichita State. Tegan Moore with 18, Grant Newell with 18, but that young man, Armello Boone, 22 points. He establishes a career high for the second time in this tournament. He is our Barbasol player of the game.
And Armello Boone actually started the game at the point guard position, his first career start at Western Kentucky, and has a excellent game. He gets a simple good job from his head coach, Hank Plota, talking him up on the way off the floor. But this young man, I believe we saw a star born here at the Battle for Atlantis. This young man is going to be a special talent, already winning back-to-back Conference USA Freshman of the Week. And I believe he could very well have a third one after his performance here in the Battle for Atlantis.
Now, Western Kentucky played Vanderbilt tougher than anybody. Had South Florida beat a late flurry. They lose that in overtime. They certainly deserve to win, and they get it. It's been our pleasure to bring you some terrific competitive college basketball all week from the Bahamas. Hope you've all had a wonderful Thanksgiving week. For Corey Alexander and the outstanding, hardworking men and women of our ESPN crew, this is Kevin Brown saying so long until next year.